Shot it like a real anthem. Shawty saw my wallet, now she think I answer. Whoa, telling me she wanted me to hammer. Trying to get saved, baby, I am not the answer. No, I can never trick. Unless the bitch is my bitch with a kiss on my lips like, I am not a pimp with a limp. I'm a man with a gift, and I'm doing my shit like, Tell them other nipples, I'm the
Hey there, Bare Knuckle News fans. Backstage here at BKFC 62 with the one, the only, David Feldman. How are you tonight, David? No rest for the weary?
Nah, man, it was an unbelievable night. I couldn't be happier. You know, we had a record-breaking crowd here with a homegrown BKFC, meaning these are guys that came up through the ranks with BKFC, and they sold this event out tonight, and I'm ecstatic about it.
There's a clip of you tonight jumping up. I don't want to say what you said, but, you know, it's just such a thrilling
Can you say it? Say it.
You were like, you said I think, when you were jumping up. You want me to say it like I said with Big Ben? You were like, and there was a big shout of you. So it's so refreshing to see that after all these years, your dream has come through, and you're like, when the fights go down, I remember which one it was, they had a clip of you jumping up, and it was just like, oh my God, it was that moment of joy. You're like still like in love with the sport. You're such a little kid about it. And it really was like, I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love him.
Listen, if I don't get excited about it,
Right.
if I don't love it, how can I expect fans to get excited about it and love it? I mean, I genuinely love it. I love it so I can sell it. I sell this better than anybody can sell anything in the world because I truly believe in it. I truly love it. I have the baddest fighters in the world. We put on the best fights in the world. We have unbelievable production, and the crowds are insane. And the viewership is through the roof. It's just an unbelievable product, and it's really coming into its own right now.
Finally, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Speaking of big nights, I think Sean and Chris Lytle were discussing the fact that the ticket sales for this night tonight surpassed any other combat sports, even boxing. It was the largest record total. So let's talk about that because it's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's the highest grossing and highest attendance of any combat sporting event ever here at the Hard Rock Casino. Now, I think another one came close in attendance because they comped the whole entire arena. So they didn't sell it. But at the end of the day, this was a really good coming out party for us, meaning we showed the world that bare knuckle is really, truly a viable competitor in combat sports now from our own fighters. And it was an amazing night for us. I'm happy as could be.
One thing I think is very interesting is the fact that you're doing something that's very smart. You know, I'm a baseball fan. I grew up in the New England area, and I used to cover spring training. And so, you know, Yankees had their spring training down in South Florida. It was a great opportunity for me to see the up-and-coming baseball players. And that is, in essence, what you were doing as well, creating your own sort of spring training league, your own sort of like B, A, or C league to move up to the rankings, so to speak.
Absolutely. Look, they have a great opportunity to rise to the rankings with this. You know, there's two things we need to do. We need to create stories, and once we create stories, that's going to in turn create stars. And once we do that, it's game over for us. There's nothing else we need to do. We have everything else down. We just need to create our own stars that they come out and then they say, okay, I want to see that guy fight that guy next. Not just, I want to see that guy and that was a great fight and now where does he go, right? The story is where does he go next? And that's what we're creating now.
I think that's what you've done here tonight. We saw Brian Durant, a guy that was 6-0 or 5-0, you know, an undefeated record, selling the most tickets tonight with a fan base that was off the charts, and it's just really encouraging to see that you've opened up Montana. I mean, what's next for you, Dave? I don't even know where to begin. What's next? What's left on your bucket list is what I should ask you.
I mean, honestly, it's just actually spreading this thing out all over the world and then bringing it back in. So what we're going to do, actually, our plan is more shows next year, more shows the following year, and then the following year, a lot less shows, because then we're going to find out where we stand in the world and where the best places are to do the shows, and then we'll cut back and do the shows only in those places. But we're going to go real wide, and then we're going to narrow it in, and then we're going to go all the way up to the top.
So you were just talking about the expansion plans for BKFC, and I applaud you for that. You're one of the hardest working, tireless people I've known in the business. You deserve everything. You've got a great team, and they work their butts off as well, led by you, of course. So you were mentioning to me just a few minutes ago that you're going to look to see in the next 2 years which target markets are going to be the most highly saturated. If we were standing here 2 years from now, what would be your thoughts? What do you think at this point might be the most popular countries, platforms, or cities? Just curious.
I think we'll be in the UK, I think we'll be in Japan, then we'll be in Mexico, United States, and Canada. For sure we'll be in those places. Australia, too. those are going to be the places that I think are going to really strike gold for us. And, that's what I'm looking forward to do. It's tiring, it's hard. The bigger you get, really the harder it gets. And then when you get big enough, so I'm going through this journey, and every day it's harder and harder and harder. And then as soon as we get right where we need to go, then it's going to get easier. But we're not where we need to go yet, so that's why it's harder every day. Soon it'll get easier. Soon we won't be traveling all over the world as much. And soon we'll be the #1 combat sport in the world.
And I believe that. I sure do. What's the one thing you wished you knew? This is a toughie now. What's the one thing you wished you knew now that you could have used when you first started the promotion?
I don't want to sit here and say we didn't make any mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes. We overpaid some fighters. We did different things. I think we just would have spent a little more time on building fighters, our own fighters, earlier. Not building them, not just using them, but building stories around them and creating stars out of them earlier. I think that's probably the big thing we would have done.
Should we talk about Conor McGregor? Everybody wants to talk about Conor McGregor. Let's talk about Conor McGregor.
He went crazy tonight on the internet, posting, talking about how excited he was. His messages to me were just unbelievable. He's the second biggest BKFC fan on the planet. He's an awesome guy. I have a great relationship with him. He really wants to see this thing be a success. It's going to be a success with him. And, we're going to meet up next week and we're going to blow this thing up. So it's going to be incredible. And I really like the guy. I really do, because he's passionate.
All right, Mike Perry, big fight coming up. Tell us how that deal was put together and what you expect from that event that night.
Look, he has a fight outside of his contract, and, a couple other fights got approached and they weren't the right fight. But this fight, it's the right fight. It's Jake Paul. He's going to get 1 million eyeballs on him. Everybody's talking about Bare Knuckle in this fight now. Everybody is, way more than they ever did. So I think it was, a great win for us. And if he does what I think he's going to do and has a hell of a fight, win or lose, but a hell of a fight, I think it's a huge win for BKFC.
All right, so we got to talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule you have, and then I will let you go because I know you're tired. But you have several fights coming up. You just announced Marbella. What else?
We got two major things. Okay. We got Sturgis, the largest motorcycle rally in the world, in Sturgis, South Dakota. The Buffalo Chip event at Sturgis. It's going to be anywhere between 30 and 60,000 people watching a BKFC event. It's going to be sick. It's going to be crazy. Actually, right before that, we have two of our fights are going to debut in Tokyo in a partnership with Ryzen. That's going to happen in Japan, so that's going to be amazing. And then we go to Marbella, October 12th. It's sensational, and who knows where we go from then. I think we're going to Dubai in November, and it's just going to keep rolling and keep rolling and keep rolling until we either get too tired or too big.
When is that, Dave? I'm already tired listening to this. I'm tired. Tomorrow's my 5-year anniversary, fans. And
happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank
Listen,
you so much.
You've given us great coverage with Bare Knuckle, and I appreciate everything you did.
And
Thank
I appreciate
you
you welcoming me into the family. 5 years ago, much like you, people thought you were crazy. Well, many of my friends and family members, especially my dad and my colleagues, were like, what the heck? You're leaving television, network TV, broadcast TV to go cover Bare Knuckle? And I was like, yeah, I am. And here we are. 5 years later, your sport is booming, and it's just kismet. It's just, people really need to get into the brand and understand what the essence is, what's the meaning is, the soul of the fighters, the warrior spirit. That's what it's about. It's not about these fighters that are they're coming off the streets fighting for Dave. Dave is running an organization here where he takes these people and he molds them into shape. He allows them to grow within the organization so they too can have the opportunity to grow and become stars and become popular amongst the fans and the fighters themselves. Right?
Absolutely. 100%, Susan.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Susan.
So much. All right, before we go tonight, remember, I'm Susan Cingari, and this is
David Feldman.
And no one beats us to the punch.
I'm the man in the city, and my bank account bigger, and my body count bigger. That's without a doubt. I'm 100 steps ahead.